Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Greg and Elliott. This is a video giving our final predictions ahead of tonight's big fight between Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. 2. Of course, the rematch back from January, where Liam Smith won via stoppage in round 4. Gents, some of these videos are trickier to make than others because some people, it's just harder, isn't it, to kind of predict fights. Obviously, when some of us were doing this video for Usyk Dubois last week, not as difficult, but here we are for Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr. Before we get started, gents, just going to kind of, for anyone that's interested, just going to discuss what the latest odds are. Liam Smith to win is 4-6. Chris Eubank Jr. to win is 11-8. Liam Smith to win by stoppage, which is of course what happened last time, is 11-8. Chris Eubank to win by stoppage is 4-1. Chris Eubank to win by decision is 5-2. And Liam Smith to win by decision is 3-1. Really, yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into this one, gents. Elliott, Greg, going to start with you. What's your gut telling you? What do you think is going to happen tomorrow night? Obviously, time of making this video, we've done all of our content. We've done the big fight breakdown, betting odds, weigh-in reaction. We've had all the fight week events. What's your gut telling you ahead of tomorrow night?
You know, I've wavered before, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to stick on. I think Smith will win. I think it'll go longer than 4 rounds. Frankly, I don't think it'll be like it was the first time. My percentage when the fight was first announced, and through some of the build-up, I've been kind of confident in that prediction. I mean, to be honest, it has narrowed a little bit, having seen the kind of weigh-in, the reaction video that you guys did as well. But I still think I'm still going to have to back Smith just on boxing fundamentals. I think he beats him. Do you want me to give us points of stoppage at this stage? I mean, I'm
Sure.
going. I reckon he'll stop him. Actually, I reckon Liam Smith will stop Eubank tomorrow.
Yeah. So another Liam Smith stoppage. How confident are you? Obviously, the betting odds here, like, it's not quite a 50-50 fight, but it's pretty close. The odds on Eubank just to win the fight aren't great. How confident are you, Elliott? Are you as confident as you were when you were predicting Usyk was going to beat Dubois, or not as much?
I'm definitely not that confident, but to be honest with you, like my confidence has dipped a bit, like because there's also that sense of like Eubank. I always feel like Eubank's being written off a bit. Don't get me wrong; he's made a lot of errors in my opinion. Obviously, the change of trainer, the general kind of like attitude he's kind of displaying coming into this fight as well, I think is different from the previous Eubank as well. And I just when I think of boxing fundamentals, I said before, I think Liam Smith's better in pretty much every department than Eubank, and you see the performance he put in against Williams as well. Started well, finished poorly. So I'm not like, I wouldn't say it's like a 70-30. It's not even probably a 60-40. It's probably somewhere around sort of 55-45 for me. Like it is a close fight, and I feel like if Eubank does certain things, and Greg will know more about this than me, and we'll touch on this in a minute. But if he does certain things differently this time around, you could kind of say he'll have more success and take it a lot longer. But I just feel like at some point he'll tire, he'll dip, his level will dip, and I think Smith's good enough to stop him again.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. There's so many factors here, whether it be kind of Eubank's trainer situation, the fact that this fight's at middleweight. Does middleweight suit better? Obviously, Liam Smith has fought at light middleweight for a long time. Chris Eubank's been at middleweight for a long time. Me and Greg have obviously done the weigh-in reaction video. I think we both kind of agreed that Liam Smith maybe didn't look in the best of shape. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe that's complete. Maybe that's not true at all. We don't know. But yeah, one thing's for sure, just really looking forward to tomorrow night. If you had to go with a round, Elliott, one round that you had to put your last £5 on, what round you picking for Liam Smith to stop Eubank Jr. in?
So you always ask me for one, and I always think of two, but it's gonna be 8 or 9. I mean, I'd have to go. Yeah. I'd have to go 8 or half. I'll say 8 if you really want me to nail to one round, but 8 or 9 for me.
Okay, I'll let you have 8 or 9 on this on this rare occasion. I can see Greg still thinking about his prediction, so I'm gonna go next. Throughout this when this fight was announced, throughout this whole period, I've always gone for Liam Smith. I do think he's just I think he's a better fighter than Chris Eubank Jr. I feel like we don't know what's left of Eubank Jr. If you look at the last kind of year or so in his career, it's not been too impressive. He's had a lot of out the ring stuff, whether it's be personal issues, the whole Conor Ben fiasco. However, I just think he's gone into this fight knowing that if he doesn't win, he doesn't necessarily have to retire, but that kind of Eubank aura that he's always had will disappear, I think, if he loses tomorrow. And I'm not convinced we'll see him in another big night like this, to be honest. I also think Eubank looked in better shape at this way than he did at the last one. Liam Smith, I thought, looked in better shape back in January. And I wonder, Ian, if Liam Smith is overconfident and underestimating Chris Eubank Jr. here. It's a really tough one, as I said at the start of the video. But my official prediction is for Chris Eubank Jr. to stop Liam Smith in the middle rounds tomorrow. And if I had to go for, I'm actually getting goosebumps saying this because it's the last minute. I'm just changing my minds here, but I'm going to go I'll go round 6 to 7. It's round 6 or 7. Chris Eubank Jr. to win by stoppage. That being said, it's 1-1. Greg, what is your gut feeling ahead of tomorrow night?
Wow, you guys both made amazing points there. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed sitting listening to you guys. Forgot I was involved for a minute there until you said that. I can see Greg still sitting thinking about it. I was thinking, well, I'm just enjoying listening to you guys speak. Elliott, Elliott's, should I say, I'm finding it very, very hard because I'm an advocate for leaving your feelings at the front door. It's no secret that I'm a big Chris Eubank fan. On the lead up to it, I've kind of felt I'm growing towards Smith the whole time, just because I've said it. I don't mean to be too personal on a video, but we have to say how we feel. I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. has been the same fighter after he had a family bereavement. I think that he looks a little bit lost. He did look very good at the weigh-in. To me, Liam Smith did not look as great as I've seen him before on the scales. I think Liam Smith's been very overconfident on the build-up. I've not enjoyed watching any of the programmes with him in it. That's as polite as I can put it. I think it's been quite disrespectful at times, and I know that in the first fight, Eubank was saying about the whole 50% thing, but that was just carrying on from the corner bay, and that was tongue-in-cheek. I have to be honest, I still feel I'm leaning towards Smith, and that's breaking my heart saying that, but only reason that I am is because Smith can fight like that at 12 rounds for a pace the first fight, and I don't know where it came from that everyone's doubting Eubank's engine, because he's always had one of the best engines in boxing, but he changed his style, guys, and when you change your style, that can look like you've slowed down, you're on the back foot, you're pawing. I'm going on and on a bit, haven't I? It hurts when you like a fighter and you can't say those words, but at the moment I'm very slightly leaning towards Liam Smith, but I'm really hoping for a Chris Eubank win.
Yeah, and what would, if Liam Smith does win tonight, what do you see happen? Do you think a repeat of the first fight where he obviously became the first man to stop Chris Eubank Jr. back in January? Do you see that happening again, or do you think a points win is more likely if Liam Smith is to win?
I think it's, for some reason, Elliott, I think it's going to be controversial. Don't be surprised, and I hope I'm wrong, but don't be surprised if it's like a cut in the second half of the fight and the referee stops it for that reason, or there's maybe an injury, etc. I think it might be a bit of a controversial stoppage, but do you know something? See, for me, this fight, Elliott, this is 52-48 in Liam Smith's favour. I'm giving you this prediction, and I'm easily going through scenarios in my head where Chris Eubank hurts him in the body, where we've seen Liam Smith vulnerable. I think he forgets that he's been vulnerable himself. I see scenarios where if Eubank targets that body early, he can win in points. So, yeah, I think if it's a stoppage either way, I think it's going to be controversial.
Great stuff. I think like a final factor here is that Chris Eubank, like he's there tomorrow night with another new trainer, one of the best trainers in the world, in Brian McIntyre, obviously the trainer of Terence Crawford and Keyshawn Davis. But we could do a video just on that. What impact has he had? What time have they spent with how much time have they spent with each other in the last 6 weeks or so? what's Eubank Jr.'s game plan here? We don't know. I just think if Eubank Jr. was still with Roy Jones, I'd probably still be going with Liam. I'd probably be going with Liam Smith, to be honest. But that's another factor. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm really looking forward to this. I think, as I said to you earlier, Greg, this is probably the fight I'm looking forward to the most to happen in the UK this year. We've had some decent nights in the UK this year. We've had Beterbiev's come over and fought Anthony Yard. We've had Lee Woods fought Michelle Lara twice. We've had other notable nights this year, but for me, this is the one I'm really looking forward to. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, some really interesting predictions there, and we will see what happens on the night. Elliott, Greg, thank you very much for your time, and I'll speak to you both again soon.
Thank you, Elliott.
Thank you, mate. Thank you guys for watching.